Hey folks, much anticipation from the last video, I'm telling you. I know several people are waiting on this. I've talked to several customers. I appreciate the interest and the enthusiasm of learning something new, so I appreciate that. So we are going to show how we do the pre-sley blocks warp and bring it to the loom. This is what a lot of people have been waiting on. We're going to use the Shack Mighty Wolf. My piece is not this wide, but I'm just going to illustrate it doesn't matter what size loom you're using this on, and there's some tricks of the trades that you might ask. So please get ready to ask for some questions. If you have some, you can email me at amy.judd@woolery.com. Please email me. I'd be happy to answer it. All right, so back to the loom. Before we get started and bring our warp over here, there are a couple of things that would really help you if just to prepare you if you're by yourself. All right, so the first thing, your top batten on the actual beater bar usually has wing nuts, okay? Some have regular bolts, depends on the loom. What you want to do is loosen it. You just want to be able to make it slide up and down. I don't take it off because that's another thing you have to put on. I'm just going to actually slide it up and down, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing, please make sure that you don't have anything obstructing the path that the warp is actually going to go in. So what I've done is, if you got heddles, you need to make sure they're slid all the way over. If you've got too many heddles on there, that's something you might need to deal with too. So I'm not going to go there. But anyway, this has a lot of heddles. My piece is only 12 inches, so I'm good to go. Clear path, okay, all the way through. The next thing I'm going to do is going to be on the back beam. These are a couple of things that you can do, and this will aid you also in trying just when you're by yourself. We will have a helper today just to speed things along. So you might have to do a few adaptations to that, okay? So on the back side of the loom, all right, so we're at the back part of the loom, and here is your warp beam, back beam. What you want to do is take the rod that's actually tethered to the warp beam, and it needs to come up and over. It doesn't need to go straight in like this. So either you can unbreak it, but you need to make sure that it's extended out and back over. If there is anything on here besides your actual cords that are tethering it to the back warp beam, you need to take this off. So this was a previous warp right here, this pink. I don't need that on here. I want to make sure that there's nothing on here that might confuse me or get tangled up. So all of these are going to come off. This one, and I think there's one over here. So please take all those off. The cleaner this is, it's going to be much easier to work with, okay? There's another thing I'm going to do real quick because I won't have all my hands when I get ready to do this. Everybody has a lot of these laying around. They're just tie cords or things you tie your leash cords with. This will help you with your leash stick. So on your back beam, I'm going to take this one, and all I'm going to do is, I don't want to go really tight. I'm going to give it a little bit of looseness, so almost my fingers underneath it. And then I'm actually going to do a knot, okay, like this, so it won't come out. It's just sliding. My tail's right here, I can actually cut. So I'm going to do one on that side. So the next one on this side, I did one on this side, now I'm doing here. So once again, under the beam, cross it over. Don't go all the way down. Make sure your finger, at least underneath it, you can slide. And then I will go ahead and make a knot on this one. All right, like this. Take your scissors, trim off just a little bit right here. This piece is made to slide back and forth like this. All right, I just saw this on the back beam. Not sure what this is. Gonna cut it too. All right, so we've got a clean back beam. Now we're really ready for the warp to come over. So we have the loom ready. Everything's cleared off. It's ready for the warp now. So now I'm going to transfer my pre-sleyed warp to the loom. Just a little note, I have 24 ends per inch hempathy, and so it's a lot wider than what you saw before with that little blue thing that I was doing. So here, this was my brick. I removed it. This part right here is actually the bulk of my 3-yard warp, okay? I'm going to take the stick that I've actually sleeved it on, so everything that's coming to is tethered to this. That's going to sit on top of my reed. My 2 leash sticks, which had rubber bands, are now cut. This is coming up, and this is going to sit right here. So I've actually got this as a package, all right? This helps with the bag. This helps with the reed. Now I'm going to walk to the loom like this. So I'm over here at the loom and I actually have the apparatus. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my bags of warp, and that's another reason they're in bags is you try really hard not to step on them. So the right one's going to go over there, the left one's going to go over here, and you can see I had two pieces that I was working with, so it's just like that. The next thing I'm going to do is then we're going to start putting this on the loom in the appropriate order. This is going to be a little slow and methodical because this needs to be done very carefully. So these steps are very important. Okay, so with what I have here, if you notice, this comes directly from the table. I had my leash sticks here, and I had my actual stick that I was just looping my warp around. It needs to be in this order because this is the way it's going to go on. And I know this looks funny at first. First thing, I'm going to take my leash sticks. Notice they're very long. This is aiding me. If they can go all the way across the loom this way, then that is actually somebody helping you hold it, okay? This stick right here is the one, normally I would set my reed down, but I actually don't have a longer reed. This part right here, whoops, this part right here with all the threads on it has to go into the reed area. If you go over the beater bar, then the reed's not going to fit in there. So it's important that it goes inside. You're actually mimicking the way the threads are going to go from the back to the front, okay? So with this one, I'm just going to balance right now. So with this one, it's going to go inside, okay? Notice the stick is a little long, so I'm going to put it in here, but where are my hands? They're right here. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to take my hand over the actual shaft, and I'm just going to set it right here for right now. If you had a thread that could hold it right here, that's just another hand. You have to think ahead to what you would need for your loom, okay? So that's around here. Now, this part right here is actually going to sit, if this stays right here, into actually just like it's going into the reed. All right, so once the reed's in here and you've got the top batten on here, you want to make sure it's inside the actual groove so it isn't going to flop back and forth. The other thing is just making sure that none of your strings actually got hung underneath the reed, because that has actually happened before, okay? So then tighten this just to make sure that it's not going to come out. So I'm going to tighten both sides. All right. Now, without me even thinking about it, I did center it. It would make sense to center this. If you didn't, you can actually undo it and slide it back and forth when you get ready to start. But you really want your warp centered to where you're going to weave it. All right. Next, I'm going to the back part to show you what we do with this one to the back stick. All right, we're at the back beam, and I actually have this one in my hand, and this is the actual stick that had the warp on it, all right? So this one is quite important because this back rod is tethered with Texol that has slip knots, okay? So some don't have that, some have this. It just depends on your loom, all right? So what you're gonna do first before we get started is, when I look at my warp, all right, and I look at this stick right here, what I'm trying to figure out is, this is the middle one right here. That's what you need to know. This is the middle. This will be like this. Will all my warp fit here, or does some of it need to go here or here, okay? I'm pretty sure it's gonna fit here and here because it's only 12 inches. Yours, if it's wider, you're gonna need to work it over as you go. So it'll make sense once I do this. So to start off with, I have loosened this one. I don't want to lose my slip knot, so I'm gently laying it down. Next one, and the next one. Make a slip knot, make it open, all right? This is my middle one. I'm always gonna have that one just right there. When I go to my actual stick here, I'm gonna hold it like this. I have found the center of my warp, and so you can see that was batch 1, batch 2, all right? When you transfer it, you can hold it like this, and what I do is grab this, all right? Sometimes I've held it like this, and I've grabbed this section right here, and you notice that this is completely around that beam. So I'm going to take it, slide it on the whole beam. So now it's actually on both of them. Leave it there for right now. Bring the cord back up, slip knot still intact. It goes on to this stick. Next one, this one. Next one, this one. We can straighten them up as soon as we do all of that. Now I'm actually on the other side, which I'm just going to redo this part right here, and it's going to actually be in this section right here. So once again, loosen this one. Make sure you don't lose the slip knots. just another thing you got to do. So carefully. So I'm back here. So with this part right here, you can actually see it's got all the way through it. If you had your singles, which we mentioned, with the ones that are by themselves that are tied, these actually had doubles because I used different spools to warp with. If you do that, you need to make sure they get on here. Otherwise, you're going to lose that thread. Next, this one, and back to this one. This original stick that we put it on is now not needed because we're actually on this back stick. I'm taking it out. So right now, everything's tethered, so I don't have anything loose. So what I'm doing is kind of straightening these up, and I'm looking from the back to the front all the way. Make sure that this is straight. That back's actually like that. Now, what I'm going to do is pull on the front, and you'll actually see this straighten out, and you'll see that that makes sense. So I'm just going to go back to the front, pull on it right here, and as you can see, it's tethered. All right, that's exactly what we wanted, was that. All right, so you can see it's not spread out. It's completely. And I'm just jiggling it. I'm not combing it. I'm jiggling. This also gives us a chance to see if there's a loose thread hanging, which I don't see any. Now, I'm pretty OCD about stuff, I'll be honest with you. I need to make sure that my threads are perpendicular. So if I'm doing this, because it's got a twist, it's just looped, you literally can draw your hand and you can actually get the twist out. So what you're doing is you're just spreading it out, making sure that everything, you just don't want this thread all the way over there. You want them perpendicular. All right, so from the front of the loom, what I'm doing right now, this is where my leash sticks were laying. When I do, and I pull them up and you think, oh, it's crazy. If you grab right here, this is where that one choke was, the one I always say that's about a yard. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving them a little jerky jerk. And what happens is this can slide up and up toward the reed, okay? And what I'm doing is just pulling on a little bit. This helps to hold if you're by yourself. Bring it down, grab it, just bring it up over it like this. I'm just giving a little bit of tension. Sometimes your body can lean on it or something, but that can help. So, just to make sure this one's actually being held for right now, I'm going to go through this hole. Once again, these little cords come in handy. I have tons of them laying around my studio. And I'm just tying the first one right now, okay? I don't need both in there, I just want this one. Once again, it's on there, it's loose. This one I'm gonna take off so I can do that bow tie like this. Put one on this side, put one on the other side. Go through, under, in between the leash sticks, like that. The next thing I'm going to work with you on, you can do this or not. This is a very short warp. You still have to transfer leash sticks back, but this will help you if you had a long warp. Most of your jam ups happen here because they're actually going over, under, and they're at a close set. So what I'm going to show you is how to transfer this leash stick to the back. This one will stay right here. This one's going to go to the back. A lot of people don't know to do this. I've done this on my 20-yard warps. It works wonderful because it removes that bottleneck. All right, we have our wonderful helper, Karen, because it is great to have helpers, and if you have one, you're way ahead of the game. So what we're doing, transferring this leash stick to the back. And so what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the layer of threads, the warp threads that are on top, okay? And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling this piece up. I will do a section, lay this down, and then I will grab this section, just because I can't grab. Sometimes you can grab more, but if you have a wider warp, you need to do it in sections, okay? All right, so I'm going to do this part, and then we're going to show from the back what is going on. All right, from the back, what I've done is I still have a layer up. Sometimes I have a sticky thread, which I really do right now. I just want to make sure I've got a clean shed back here. So Karen's going to insert another leash stick or just a regular stick. And so from here, I'm going to now lower this one, go to the other half that we just discussed earlier, pick it up, and sometimes I'm going to try from here just to make sure, okay? So I've got my hand underneath there. I've actually grabbed, and just to make sure, all right? So are we good to go all the way across? All right, so I'm gonna lay that down. All right, so this string, remember we did this in the very, very beginning, and you probably were asking, I don't know what this is for, so this is why. So Karen's inserting her leash stick underneath it. This gets slid over. I have another one over there. It's another way of having hands that you might not have. Also, I always do a slip knot on the end here, and then my string can actually be opened up, and then I actually can just tether this way to the loom. You don't want to lose this because this is the other half of your cross. All right, so I'm back to the front. We've actually got that last leash stick secured. This leash stick we don't need it anymore because we have one in the back. So what I've done is undo the leash sticks here. Don't lose this one. This is the one we're taking out. So here I've got an actual bow tie here on the end of my leash cross. So I'm taking this one off and it won't come off. All right, this one right here is the one we do not need. So this one can come out. So I'm going to pass that to Karen right now. She's just going to slide that one out. Perfect. Remember these that are tasseled here? Guess what? This one goes in its place, right here to here. And now I actually have both leash sticks secured. One at the beater bar, other one on the back beam. And now I'm ready to wind my warp. All right, so we're back again. We're getting ready to beam it, dress it, beam it. These two chokes right here need to come out, okay? Because you can see when I hold this, it's a little saggy here and a little tight here. All right, so on this I do have actual just little ties. I've only gone around it about 3 times. So I'm gonna undo this one. You wanna save, save. Next. I do have one loose thread, which is okay because this will actually, you're going to have some, but then I'm going to show you how they work themselves out. All right, so as I'm holding these, I'm just going to hold right here where the choke is, and I'm going to hold this one. The best thing to do is you don't want to comb this, and some people will go giddy up. And that sometimes throws the loose threads up in it, so I don't do that either. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing this. If I want to hold it, sometimes just tapping it will loosen some. See how that one just fell down? So with this one, then I can actually pull it up to it. So the loose ones will come down. That's been a trick I've used, okay? Especially on sticky warp. So if I'm doing this one, you can see where the inside is a little loose. I have learned to use my fingers like this, and I will hold like this so that you would like these to be the same tension. All right, same with your left and your right, like this. All right, so I'm ready to beam. Karen, go ahead. All the way around. That was not quite a yard. That was pretty quick. So I'm going back before I start again. You can see that it may look funny, but what I'm doing, because her brake's off, I'm allowed to work on this. Tap, tap, tap. You can see there's that loose thread. For some reason, he just wants to be loose. So once again, grabbing it like this, that one's going to work. Let me do this one. Pull it. Don't see any loose ones. That's a good one. Grab. And grab. A little loose one there. And it's nice and straight. Notice I'm pushing down like this. It allows it to run on top of that breast beam, so I actually can look at it and see if the tension is good. So I have a tendency to do that. Make sure if somebody lets off the brake, you don't fall back. All right, so I'm ready?
Yep.
How that's going? Look good back there, Karen?
Looks okay to me.
Looks good. I was doing hemp because I know it's a sticky warp. So, and I think it's a good example of how things can go well with a sticky warp. All right, Karen, give me 3 turns. You don't need sticks on every turn. Go right ahead. You don't mind. Thank you, thank you. Looks good. Now I'm going back. You can see that I have the other choke here at the end, and I am untwisting this. I'm going to look at this one. Tap, tap, tap. You can see there's my loose ones. If you can just grab those from underneath like that, you can see that that's pretty good here. Next one. that one looks pretty good. Must have did all right on that one. Is there a loose one? Oh, got a loose one. Sometimes you can guitar string, just a little bit like that, and then tap. And there we go, like that. And I do like to use my fingers if I can at all possible. Okay, and I'm laying it down, ready to go. The pre-sley reed, it seems to go in really well, and because I've moved the leash stick, there's not a bottleneck there. There's not a cross. It's sliding right on very easily. Very good. And see, I'm almost done. This was a 3-yard warp. I will only go to here because I need the thread, all right? So I'm not going to put all of that part on there, all right? So from there. So once again, Karen, thank you. Going on very well. Very happy. It's always good to get a warp on. Very well. So once again, holding them, you can see it going over. That's a little one right there, but see how it ends up coming out. Just very good, very good, very good. And I'm pretty much well to the end right here, and I'm just going to stop right here. I'm going to show you how to transfer that one to the back. Both your leash sticks will need to be on the back side, because remember, this reed is not to weave with. It is a pre-sley, all right? These will eventually come straight out of here. All right, I'm back again. Karen has helped me wind the warp on, and now we're at the very end. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to undo the last choke that I had on the very end of my warp, all right? And I tend to do a figure 8. This is just something I've learned on mine. So as I take this out, notice I'm holding the complete loop here, like this, all right? So from here, you can see that that's actually that shed right there. It is easier now since I have it in my hand. If you look at what I'm doing this. Yes, I have to cut the warp now. This is the first time I've cut it the whole time. So I'm going to cut this directly here so it's exactly the same lengths. Right? So just to make sure this stick stays, I'm just going to do a very loose knot right here. Okay, next one, I'm going to do the same thing. And once again, figure 8 is what I've been taught. As you pull this out, you will have top and bottom layers. As you can see here, I'm going to the very end and I'm going to cut. All right, so very carefully do another loose knot. Now, this stick right here, the other leash stick, needs to be back there with its partner, because remember, this will be absolutely gone. So as I bring this closer to me, all right, and I know Shaq actually has a pin that will hold that. If you have that type of loom, that's great. So from here, I'm going to grab these on top of the stick, right here, and this one. Since I'm back here and only have the one stick to worry about, you can see that I have this open, all right. My other leash stick is actually going to be inserted in, and I'm going to take it to the back. All right. So I know that because I can easily see it from here. Insert it all the way to the back. This is what's going to be tied to the back stick. All right. I'm going to do that real carefully. All right. So I've got the back stick, or the second stick, back here to the back. Once again, here's these ties that are on that leash stick. So I'm going to insert one in here, and these two are going to be tied together. Now remember, this one is still tethered with this piece. So now I'm not worried about them falling. So once again, I'm coming over here. I'm going to take one of these, basically splits apart. This one actually goes here. Make sure you have sturdy string for this. You want to make sure it's not going to break. I did a tencel warp recently, and I kept the extra that I had left over from my threading, and it works great. This is just a cotton one. So now I've actually got both leash sticks back here. If you feel funny, you can look and you can still see the crosses there. All right. So from the next section here, I'm going to cut, or I'm going to pull it out of the reed, which always scares people. Because remember, this reed is not what we're weaving with, all right? All right, so I'm back to the front of the loom, both leash sticks have been secured. It is absolutely important to keep your cross. Do not let the cross go away. So both leash sticks are back there. This one I don't need anymore because I already have it back there. So once again, I can pull it out. I do not need this. Yeah, it's not going to go that way. I don't need it either way. Now, this one, loose knot, like I said, was here. So I'm going to undo this one. All right. And I'm going to undo this one. Don't need them. Now remember, this reed, they have to come out. So yes, I am pulling this through. And a lot of people are like, oh, why is she doing that? But this does come out. Okay, so as this comes out, this part right here, I'm just going to knot it again. This is what I'm going to be using to thread. All right. Now, I do know what I'm using is 24 EPI ends per inch. I would go ahead probably now and group these in 24s because that will help me slay or thread my reeds, my heddles and then my reed. So it's just something that will keep me going. So after this, I'm going to do this. And when you're doing this front to back, once again, this piece will come off, this piece will come off, okay? Your reed now comes out. You do not need this reed, okay? And I normally remove this, and that gives me a clear path to thread. So I hope this helps, folks. I know it's a lot to take in. Watch it a million times, and once again, you can email me with questions. Be patient, because I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of them, but I hope it does help. Thanks. All right, so just to clarify some things, a lot of people don't understand why I took it out of the reed after I slayed the reed and did all that time. Honestly, once you do this enough times and really get it down, it didn't take me less than 15 minutes to slay the reed, all right? And like I said, I have 24 EPI and I have 12 inches because they're looped together and they're not going individually into the dents. They are in groups of what I have, what I use to warp it with. And it goes on very easy and very perpendicular to the back beam. It is basically in place of a rattle. There's no twist, there's no nothing. So once we get this actually threaded, we will also show the way that it goes straight back. So that does help. So that's one of the main reasons I know people are going to ask me, why did you do that? It is in place of a rattle, and it actually will keep individual threads or groups of threads much more in line. Okay, so that's important. I do want to show one other thing. I did remove the top batten and I put it up here. When you are going back to front, you are going to actually thread, and I'm just going to mimic that. I'm not going to go through all the threading process. All right, say I threaded all that and it's completely done. And I need to do my reed again. So it's threaded and I'm getting ready to put it into the reed. I have found if I use longer sticks like this, a lot of people who don't do warp sticks, a customer gave me a great idea. She said, I go get shoe molding at the hardware store. It's round on one end, but it's got two square edges, and it would basically sit very evenly and well. And it's sturdy. So she had two pieces cut full length. Do that same while you're doing this. Remember the same rubber band trick where we went around and up underneath this will hold this tremendously better. When you're doing that, instead of putting your reed back into the beater bar, lay it flat. You're able to see these dents much easily as you slay this for the final time. So once again, I hope it helps. Please send questions. Thank you.